You can use Adobe Acrobat Pro to create fillable worksheets that you can assign to your students in Google Classroom so they can fill them out using Adobe Acrobat for Google Drive. Here's how you can do that. Here's an assignment I might give my students via Google Classroom. If students open this using Adobe Acrobat for Google Drive, they will be limited to these three tools: the sticky note, the highlighter, and the pencil. The sticky note allows them to put their mouse where they would put a response and then type in their response. All student responses will be on the right-hand side. Using Adobe Acrobat Pro gives me the opportunity to make this fillable for my students. This is what it would look like when it's fillable. In each of these blue spaces, students can type. So when they open this assignment from Google Classroom with Adobe Acrobat for Google Drive, they can simply click in the blue boxes and type their responses. Once they finish filling it out, they can simply turn it in Google Classroom for you to grade. Here's another example of how this can be used. This is a quiz I used to give in my classroom when we were studying prefixes and suffixes. This is not fillable for my students. However, now it is. So let's show you how you can do that to make this easier for your students to fill out PDFs that you already have. The first thing you want to do is obviously make sure that you are in Adobe Acrobat Pro. This should be available on your teacher laptops as well as your teacher desktops. Open up a PDF and you should see these tools on the right-hand side. On this PDF, I need a text box in many different places. Scroll on the right-hand side and click More Tools. You'll be on your Tools tab here. And you want to prepare the form. So simply click Prepare Form. A thumbnail image of the single file that you want to work on is here. Simply click Start. As you can see, this has added fields for my students to fill out. There's a few editing things you will need to do before you are ready to send this to your students. On this particular assignment, there are a few things I need to edit. For example, I don't want students writing over here, so I could simply click in it and press the Delete key on my keyboard once I have the perimeter highlighted, and continue through removing those. So I would go through and remove the areas where I don't want students to type. In this case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I want to remove. I can actually use my mouse to draw another box over them, and it will select those 5. And then I can press the Delete key on my keyboard. So those areas will not be able to be typed in by my students. You can see when it creates the field, it does give it a name based on some text that's near it. To resize, you can simply hover over the line and drag it up and in. Again, watch as my mouse changes shape when I hover over that and pull it up and then pull it in. If you want to change the text that's typed here, you can do so by double-clicking on it and change it here. Notice I am hovering on where the little square is in the center. This allows me more control. Now you notice this section here does not have a place for students to type, so I need to add that in. I'm going to add the text box. You can see it gives me a box where I can actually draw it in, and you can give it a name. You can also check that this is a required field to ensure that students fill it out. If you want to make sure the other fields are required, you would right-click, click on Set as Required Field. You can also do this for multiple fields at once by simply dragging your mouse over it, right-clicking, and Set as Required. You'll notice they're red. This means they're required fields students must complete. In this case, it has taken the entire question and put it here as a prompt for students when they hover over it. If you want to change that, again, you can right-click, rename field, and this will pop up. Since I know this is my big idea section, I can simply type that there, and again, make it required. Again, right-click, rename field, perspectives, and I'm going to make it required. So just a few quick edits and you can have this ready for your students. So again, Let's rename the field, and I'm going to make it required. This area also needs a text box, so let's show you how to do that again. Simply click the text box icon here, place it where you would like it, drag your mouse, good to go, give it a name. Let's make it required, and that is now ready for my students to complete. So now that all my fields are set, you do want to make sure that they are in order. What this means is when a student clicks here and then tabs, they can go to this next field. Now, many students may simply use their mouse to click in the field, but if they do discover they can tab, you want it to go in the correct order. On the right-hand side, this is the order that students will access each field. So this goes from name to text selection to author to big idea. So it would go from here, 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 here. It skipped over book. So I need to find book over here. Okay, and I'm just going to pick it up. You can see this little line that's indicating where it's going to be, and I want it to go after text selection. So now it will go name, text selection, book, author, big idea, perspectives, ethics, unanswered questions. So that is the order they're in over here. This is ready for me to send to my students. However, if I want, I can change the font that the students will be typing in. So for example, I want all 4 of these, and again, notice I just used my mouse to drag over, so all 4 of them would be the same. So once I have those all selected, I can change the font that I want my students to type in. So I would simply right-click and go to Properties. Once this box pops up, you have a few options. Under Appearance, the font size you do want to keep to varies. This is nice because if they're typing in a larger text box and they type more, it will adjust the size. But if you want it to be set to a specific font, you can pick a font size. You can also change the text color. So if you want what students type to be a different color so it stands out for you when you are grading, you can simply click text color and choose any one of these up the top. The easiest one is this one. And let's say I want all student work to show in red. That way it's easier for me to grade. And close that. You can also change the font. The default is usually Helvetica, but you can change it to any font that you would want your students to type in. If you want what they type to be centered, specifically in these text fields, maybe not in these larger fields, but you could go to Options and click Alignment to Center. You can also have it check spelling, and then click Close. If you want these 4 to all be the same, you can click on it, click the Shift key to select multiple ones so they're all the same, since I can't drag over it as easily with my mouse to get to the bottom of the page. Right-click, Properties. Again, go to Appearance for the text color. And that is actually all that I want to change for my students. And then click Close. You can preview your worksheet by simply clicking Preview. Now you can see this is ready for students to fill out. If you want to test what it will look like if they type in here, that's how it will look. If after you've set it up and there's still something you want to change, you'd simply click Edit and you're back in the editing mode. Once you're finished, click Close, and this is ready to be sent to your students. You can save this. I'm on a Mac, so I'm just going to save it to my desktop. I'm actually going to put the word Fillable. I like to tag it as Fillable so that I know that it's the fillable one, because the old one that wasn't fillable is still on my drive. And click Save. Back on your Google Drive, find the folder that you want it in, and you can choose to upload the file. So simply find it. It will be added. Once it's complete, you'll be able to preview it by opening with Adobe Acrobat for Google Drive. And students will again see the red and the light blue, where they can then add their information. You can see the font size for the book title is a little smaller than the name. This is because I selected that the text size varies. Once students have completed all sections, they would simply turn it in Google Classroom. Now for something like a quiz that I've created that would look like this, remember you're going to click on your tools. Again, you can find it here. You could also simply click here and prepare the form. There's the thumbnail, start, and this is great because it automatically finds all the fields that I need filled in. So this is actually ready to go to my students. I just have to save it, upload it to my Google Drive, and assign it. Again, the only thing I would need to do is to think about whether I want to change the font size or the font color for my students. And that's how you can use Adobe Acrobat Pro to create fillable PDFs for your students to use in Google Classroom.